On your screen right now are new pictures of Dwayne Selby, Glenda Cookie Parton, and Jack Grimes.
Cookie's family released these new, never-before-shared photos to Fox 23, hoping it will jog someone's memory and lead to new information about what happened to them.
Yeah, such a tragic story. It's been 1 year since the three of them disappeared from a ranch in the North Tulsa community of Turley. For the first time ever, we are hearing from their family.
They spoke with Fox 23's Rick Marinon about what this past year has been like as they look for answers and seek justice in this Fox 23 investigation.
We all need some relief. We need to know.
I think about it a lot, but I can't figure it out either. That's probably why the police are having such a hard time.
We sure miss her, and we really would like justice for her.
The final moments in the final chapters of their lives remains an open book. In fact, it's a completely different and bizarre story in itself. It's now been 1 year since Jack Grimes, his friend and business partner Dwayne Selby, and Dwayne's mom Glenda Cookie Parton disappeared in Turley. In an exclusive interview, family members opened up to me. They share their frustrations, struggles, and opinions about what happened to their loved ones in one of the strangest missing persons cases ever in Tulsa County.
This is such a weird seeming case. You know, I can understand how they're having issues trying to figure it all out.
The mystery began in late October 2021. Business partners and close friends Jack Grimes and Dwayne Selby disappeared while on their way to a show horse convention in Fort Worth, Texas. The men never made it there. After several frantic unanswered phone calls, Jack's sister Nancy Clayton tells me the families knew something wasn't quite right.
They were trying to get a hold of him, so I tried to get a hold of him, and nobody could. And that's when we figured it out. I mean, they've been gone 2 or 3 days before we realized, because they were going on a trip.
But soon a missing persons case of 2 would turn into 3. Dwayne's mom, Glenda Cookie Parton, went looking for the men. She too disappeared the day the family started searching.
Anything random, nothing random makes any sense. She didn't have any enemies. There would have been nobody out to hurt her.
The Tulsa County Sheriff has been investigating the case since day one. Communications Director Casey Roebuck admits things took a turn for the strange.
It's been weird, actually, since the beginning, the fact that you have a woman coming to look for her son and then she goes missing as well. But the fact that we've only found Jack is very bizarre.
Jack Grimes' remains were found in this remote field a mile west from his house in Turley. Adding more to the mystery, the car the 2 men were supposed to be taking down to Fort Worth, Texas, was actually found here in Mohawk Park, 4 miles in the opposite direction of where they would find Jack's body. In addition to the car being abandoned, Cookie's car would be found a mile east of where the men lived, abandoned on Highway 75 in North Tulsa. A year later, the story seems to have stalled. Roebuck says despite the outward appearances, this is not a cold case. They do have a person of interest.
This case is far from cold, and we want the citizens of Tulsa County to know that. This isn't in our cold case file. We don't anticipate it going there. A lot of progress has been made over the last year.
The county sheriff released this photo of a man wearing a cap with facial hair, shopping with Cookie the day the search for Jack and Dwayne began. They questioned him and consider him a person of interest. He has not been charged and his identity has not been released. But Cookie's daughter-in-law, Carol Selby, told me she knows exactly who that man is shopping with her mother-in-law. She said he's the hired farmhand named John. Carol said John joined some of the family when they went looking for the men. She said he also cared for Jack and Dwayne's horses, making sure they were fed.
I don't think at that moment she thought there was a thing wrong.
Sheriff investigators studied the video the photo came from and saw nothing suspicious in their behavior. But a phone call later that night would draw the suspicion of Dwayne's sister-in-law, Carol, when she spoke with Cookie. Cookie was still searching for the men at their Turley home.
I had heard Mel's voice on the phone when I talked to her at one point, but Nancy said he had come in and said that he wanted to say a prayer. And I think that they participated in that.
Carol believes and told law enforcement the man's voice she heard in the same room with Cookie on her phone call was John's. This was the last phone call Carol would ever have with her mother-in-law. The following morning, no one could get in touch with Cookie. She too had disappeared. Jack's sister Nancy Clayton said she last saw Cookie alone at the missing men's house with John the night she disappeared.
We can't help but think she found out something or saw something we don't know. And We hated that that happened. I tried to get her to come home with me, but she didn't want to. She wanted to stay there.
Cookie's car was found abandoned along Highway 75 in North Tulsa, about a mile away from the house where she was last seen.
She wouldn't have went down without a fight.
The missing men's house has been searched inside and out numerous times during the year by multiple forensic teams, with no results being announced to the public. The Tulsa County Sheriff's Office would not confirm whether or not the person of interest is farmhand John. The family says they've been assured by the sheriff that none of them are in danger from whoever is responsible.
We don't believe at this point that the suspect in this case is a threat to the general public. But what we do want the public to know is that we are still working this case.
Jack Grimes' remains are still at the medical examiner's office. A cause of death hasn't been released, but Jack's family still held a memorial service, knowing he is in fact gone. A year has gone by, and Jack's sister Nancy Clayton is now caring for her brother's horses. But because Cookie and Dwayne haven't been found, Nancy says she's heartbroken their families haven't been able to start saying goodbye.
Their family is really tore up too, because they've been waiting and they have no idea. So that makes it harder for them.
The families want people to know that Cookie, her son Dwayne, and Jack were loved. They had lives. They had personalities. They are missed, and they hope that one day soon they'll have justice.
Still have hope.
Always.
The sheriff's office tells me they believe that Dwayne and Cookie are dead. There's been no cell phone activity or credit card activity, and there have also been no sightings reported of them anywhere in the U.S. Covering news that matters, I'm Rick Marin on Fox 23 News.
The Tulsa County Sheriff's Office is still taking tips on the case. If you have any information, big or small, you can contact investigators on the number on your screen right there. If you want more information or want to take a closer look at the newly released photos we just shared, you can find all of that inside this story on FOX23.com. And I have to tell you, Shay, I remember being out there as the crime and safety reporter when this happened, and there was so much uncertainty then. Now a year later, they haven't got answers.
Right. It's so hard for the family. I guess the good news is from the sheriff's office is that this is not a cold case. So it sounds like they just have a lot of pieces they just need to tie together to have a solid case.
Yeah. What important reporting and good reporting by Rick.
Thank you, Rick.